103.9. It's the top of the 10 o'clock hour. Still very much in left morning show. Kingsley Bassey is my name, doing this alongside Council Felix Uzoma. And yes, it's time to examine Nigeria after President Buhari's 8 years in office. Today we embark on a thought-provoking journey examining the impact, achievement and challenges of President Buhari's tenure as a leader of our great nation. Let's delve into this critical conversation, exploring the socio-political landscape, economic transformations, governance reforms and the overall state of our beloved country. And doing so with myself and the Council Felix this morning, great men, gentlemen who have followed this administration. As a matter of fact, I've listened to them critically this past 8 years, talk about the Buhari administration and governance in Nigeria, and they will share their thoughts on what they've observed. And of course, you get the chance to be part of the conversation at 20 minutes past 10. Precisely 20 minutes past 10, we'll open up the studio lines for you to call in where the Take the Mic segment begins, right? That segment is called Take the Mic, essentially for you, where you can join the conversation. We'll still have the gentlemen still there talking to us about this on this topic today. But we have a post up on social media, and the question on that post is a big question for today. After President Buhari's 8 years as president, of course, is Nigeria better or worse? Is Nigeria better or worse after President Buhari's 8 years, spending 2 terms, 4 each of the constitutional 2 terms, for him? Alrighty, and the numbers to call to be part of the conversation is 0703 2277 338 and 0909 555 1039. You can join the conversation at exactly 20 minutes past 10. So you want to stay tuned, listen to the submissions by these gentlemen and join the conversation. By the way, what you can also do is go to Facebook where we're streaming live and drop a comment there in the live broadcast. You'll find also the post. You can drop a comment there on Twitter and Instagram. You find the post where we pop that question: if Nigeria is better or worse after 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari. Let's begin, gentlemen. You already met, if you started the program with us on the newsstand, already met Tunji Abdulhamid, barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. There. Let's once again say good morning to you, Tunji Abdulhamid.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me once again.
Yeah, appreciate that. Good morning. Also joining us this morning is Prince Francis Chilaka, a political affairs analyst. Good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners.
Fantastic. Also joining us on this conversation is Chief Umoru Momoh Darlinghtyn, a security consultant and a political affairs analyst as well. Good morning to you.
Morning,
Yeah, Chief Darlinghtyn, your tone is quite low.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I wasn't specific about the volume, which it could be better, but I was talking about your tone. It feels like you're taking sides already after I popped that question as to whether the country is better or worse. Going by your tone, I could already say what you think or how you think the country is right now. Well, we'll see your calls via the phone lines. Again, wait till 20 minutes past 10. That's the time for the Take the Mic segment, so you can join the conversation. Let me begin with you, Chief Darlinghtyn. Considering your tone this morning, is Nigeria better or worse after President Buhari's 8 years? Especially from a security point of view, you're a security consultant. Are we better off than when President Buhari took over in 2015?
I think it was very much unfair if you're lumping up the 8 years together. If we want to discuss security properly, I thought we would have looked at it for 4 years. In his first 4 years, apparently he met a dilapidating security structure and architecture in the country which he inherited. Of course, don't forget that the the extent at which terrorism raged and raved, in Nigeria in between 2014-2015 was apparently alarming. Even though as a security officer he tried as much as possible to struggle. He struggled inside what he inherited in terms of insecurity. Well, in his second coming, apparently we started experiencing the fall of killings, the fall of bombings, the reduction of other insecurity activities, aside from what happened across the Northwest. The Northwest had a different kind of insecurity, which had to do with banditry. Banditry actually soared, and you almost want to say that banditry actually took a better side of this government between 2019 or thereabout and today. Today, there has been improvement again. If you want to look at the indicators and the indices as used by some international organizations, you remember the marching order Mr. President gave to the security chiefs in 2022, and close to the last quarter of 2022. After that marching order came, we saw series of improvements, and Nigeria has like that level of improvement up until today. Again, immediately we had so much quiet before the election, but shortly after the elections, we started seeing a resurrection of the activities of banditries, particularly in the Northwest. Northeast has been a bit quiet because the government has been able to arrest the situation there. Boko Haram is no longer in the news on daily basis. ISWAP is no longer on the news on daily basis. Suicidal bombing is no longer in the news on daily basis. What you find is Boko Haram surrendering. The fall of Shekau has also helped to dilapidate Boko Haram, even though you would not give the entire credit of the death of Shekau to the Nigerian government. From information we gathered that Shekau was not actually taken out by the Nigerian security arrangement. It was the power tussle that broke out between ISWAP and Boko Haram as per who gains supremacy in the forest, in Sambisa, who takes charge. And then they wanted a blend at a point in time, and Shekau refused. And one story says Shekau detonated the IED vest he was wearing. Some say it was actually the ISWAP leadership that took him out. But with the way it was gain, it is gain, and it will continue to remain gain for Nigeria as a country. Because at a point in time, you wake up, you go to bed, what you hear is bombing, particularly in the Northeast. But today, all of us will agree that this will arrested. That is because, I repeat, that is because this outgoing, do I call it outgoing administration?
That's fine, yeah.
Was able to do some particularly Intel today.
More Darlinghtyn, are you there? All right.
A lot of surveillance guard have been movement of these terrorists are monitored per second, per minute, per hour, per day.
All right.
Is being proactive.
All right.
Specifically in that zone. But can we say the same thing about the Northwest at the moment? I think your guess is as good as mine.
All right. Well, let me come to you, Prince Francis Chilaka. According to data obtained from the National Security Tracker, and I'm just feeding off the comments made by Chief Umoru Momoh Darlinghtyn. Now back to my point. According to data data obtained from the National Security Tracker, a project of the Council on Foreign Relations Africa Program, the death, in Nigeria, the data they have provided is that 663, beg your pardon, they've said that 63,111, that's 63,111 deaths were recorded under President Muhammadu Buhari, and that death toll is conservative according to them because the only reported cases from multiple sources were included. They say that that's the case, that this 63, let's say over 63,000 is conservative because only reported cases from multiple sources were included, and that many cases are underreported or not reported at all. In your view, in terms of security, Prince Francis Chilaka, is Nigeria better? Is Nigeria worse?
When I listen to some Nigerian security experts trying to give credit this government, saying that they have fought security to a certain level, I just laugh. And the reason why I laugh is because we all know the promises of this government before it came into power in 2015. We know what they used as the campaign against the Jonathan government. And one of the major campaigns was the issue of insecurity, the issue of kidnapping and all of that. But then, when you put it side by side, what has played out in the last 7.5 or 7+ years now, going to 8 years, you'll find out that this government itself failed totally in protecting the lives and properties of Nigerians.
Totally, you said. Totally.
We must be very... Yes, secondly, we must be very sincere with ourselves. Most of the killings going on in Nigeria are underreported because the press itself has been gagged to a point where certain killings are not reported. I remember at a point in time, the Minister of Information, came out and said, rather than talk about the killings and all of that, let us talk about the achievements of the Nigerian soldier. And we said, yes, it is good to talk about the achievement, but when the killings are more than the achievements, it rules out whatever achievement they have gotten. In the last few weeks, you and I know how many deaths that has been reported. So when we talk about 163,000 Nigerians have been killed in 8 years, not that we're having a war, not that we're in war, but because of lack of security, insecurity, lack of the will of government to protect the lives and citizens of the Nigerians that they have vowed to according to the 1999 Constitution, then we must ask ourselves what has really gone wrong. We must ask ourselves who takes responsibility. Unfortunately, Nigeria is a country where nobody in power takes responsibility. And it is high time. This is where we keep saying that there is need for governance, for there to be accountability, for there to be responsibility, for there to be transparency. Somebody must be held responsible. Nigeria is a country where nobody resigns from government, nobody gets sacked, even when there is need for that. We need to go out of that. We need to get to a point where we begin to think as if there is no box. I am one of those who would not support government to say that government has tried as far as Nigerians lose their lives every day, their properties get destroyed, the government has failed the people.
All right.
So we would move swiftly to Tunji, who is a lawyer. What is your assessment of Buhari's administration, especially with respect to the judiciary? Have we had appreciable improvement in the judiciary or not?
Before I go into that, please let me add my thoughts to the security issue.
No problem.
I want to disagree totally with Chief Darlinghtyn regarding on the fact that to the effect that the government has done well in the area of security. And most time when we talk about security and the yardstick they use is that before 2015 they are bombing everywhere. Which everywhere? Bombing before 2015 was restricted to Abuja and the northeast. Those are the area those are the other areas that are being bombed at that time. But today we have security every aspect of the country, everywhere, every region. Those people that have been dislodged, said to have been dislodged in quotes, to me they change tactics. They realize that this system of bombing will no longer help, and they change their tactics and they become bandit, they become this and that, and they're now kidnapping, they're now doing this and that. There was S-men, there was this and that, killing so many. People were not looking at that, they were just talking about there was no more bombing. The people are still dying. People, whether you die by bomb or you die by cutlass, it's dead, is dead. The problem is that people are being killed and people are dying. So when people are dying, and you are saying because there's no more bombing, then they don't well. I want to disagree in that regard. There is nothing that is going well. As long as people continue to die, people are still dying.
Chief Darlinghtyn is laughing in the background. I'm sorry, Tunji. I'm sorry, Tunji. Chief Darlinghtyn was talking about a very serious issue, by the way. 63,000, over 63,000 reported deaths under President Momoh Buhari in 2 terms. But you seem to be smiling about it.
No, I will not look at
it. Gentlemen,
let's very good friend. I know Barrister Abdulhamid is my very good friend, you know. And even before we came on this show this morning, we had exchanged that we were going to be here. And so when he's talking, you know, I was laughing because apparently he is saying some very notable things. But you see, sometimes when we discuss security, we are oblivious of certain factors and what it is. Today, what Nigeria is suffering is not peculiar to Nigeria. We are suffering and
you are taking my turn.
Tuju would come back when you have the right to the response. Let him respond to.
Let me make. You are my friend. I will not take your turn by the grace of God. Now, my brother, what Nigeria is suffering, sometimes we become oblivious of what is the global percentage of the level of insecurity at the moment. Across the world, everywhere, the tone of the day is insecurity. You know, but Nigeria, when I say we will not be fair to the, I'm not a spokesperson for this administration. When I say we will not be fair, when we lump up the 8 years together, we will not be getting a proper picture of how it started and how it is ending. Go and look at the global something index report since 2015. One soul is very important. One soul is very important, but even so, what the international organizations have been reporting in terms of the number of persons who have died between 2014 and now, the thing has been gradually going down. Barrister Tunji, you would agree with me, even though you say you do not agree with me totally, but you would agree with me in this, that in the northeast that you mentioned is no longer the same as it is today. What was happening in Abuja between 2013-2014 before 2015 is no longer happening inside Abuja. Give it to the security.
It's happening elsewhere. It's happening elsewhere.
No,
gentlemen, please.
In Benue,
yeah,
is what has been there even in the era of the other administration. I'm not making case for anybody. What is the headers farmer issue, the intracommunal issue, these are the basic conflicts that are taking place on the north central belt.
But Chief Darlinghtyn,
from what is on the northwest,
Chief Darlinghtyn,
on the northeast.
Security.
Many people are calling Chief Darlinghtyn.
All right, gentlemen, please hold on. All right, Chief Darlinghtyn, you've had your time to share your thoughts on this. But the fundamental question remains as it stands. This is the 26th day of May 2023. The president hands over officially next Monday in 3 days. Do Nigerians feel comfortable security-wise? Can they use the roads comfortably without shivering? Can they do they feel comfortable security-wise? That's That's the fundamental question as regards security. But Chief, hold on. Chief, hold on.
Comfortable at this point in time in terms of insecurity. Nigerians can never be comfortable.
All righty then. Chief, hold on.
The region that you are in.
All right, hold on for me. Prince Francis Chilaka has been struggling to get into the conversation, and by the way, we're on Tunji Abdulhamid. In a moment we'll come back to him. Just very quickly, Francis Chilaka, you have Prince Francis Chilaka. Beg your pardon. You have a few minutes.
I'm not doing Tunji Abdulhamid any good. I thought Tunji would have completed.
Chief, you said it yourself. He's your friend, and you try taking his turn, but we'll come back to him. All right, Prince Francis Chilaka, let's come to you.
No, all I'm trying to say is when people sit behind their system, their computer and all of that, and they begin to tell me, oh, what you saw 2-3 years back, there has been a lot of improvement. If there has been a lot of improvement, 63,000 Nigerians wouldn't have died. If there has been a lot of improvement, the kidnapping, the killing, the maiming would have stopped. When you talk about communal clashes, how often do we have it? When you talk about the herders and the farmers, how often did we have this? Don't forget that this same administration opened up our borders and all manner of people were coming in, which is the problem we have. We have too many people in Nigeria that cannot be accounted for. So when we talk about insecurity and we're talking about the root cause of insecurity, the major root cause of insecurity is that we have too many people in this country and we do not have a database of who is who. So the government has failed the Nigerian people. Whose fault is it if you don't have whose fault is it? You see, when I mentioned improvement, I talked specifically about the Northeast. It's like we are not listening very well, Kingsley. I was specific. I mentioned where terrorism was really thriving. Where you have Boko Haram, where you have ISWAP, is in the Northeast. What you have in the North Central is banditry. Sorry, what you have in the North Central is herders, farmers, intercommunal and intercommunal conflict. What you have in the Northwest is banditry. I was specific and I said, and I will repeat, that there has been a lot of improvement. Please look up your books. Please, I have been there. I'm not just talking as somebody who was looking into the
how do we determine improvement? It's not by when people are not being killed. That's why you say there's improvement. No matter how fight,
my brother.
Chief Darlinghtyn, please hold on. Chief Darlinghtyn, please hold on.
Listen. Go and buy 1 million to Kalo jets. Go and buy so many ammunition or whatever, and yet people are dying. You won't tell me that they tried because they bought ammunition. What their essence is to prevent people being killed, not just taking steps or efforts. We don't appreciate that. We're not applauding efforts here. We are applauding results. The results on ground does not show that they've done well. So in as well as the people are dying, as far as I'm concerned, it's a failure.
All right. Okay. It's 23 minutes past 10 o'clock. Well, it's time for the news stands. It's been time 3 minutes ago, but we needed to let our guest analysts, land with their thoughts. They have now. There's still very much a lot more to cover. But let's go straight to the news stands where the listener, I said the news stand, beg your pardon, take the mic segment. Yeah, they take the mic segment where you, the listeners, you are listening right now, can join the conversation. The number to do so with is 0703 2277 338 or 0909 555 1039. Let's make this real quick. Please be very quick with your submissions. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Yeah.
And good morning to all the guest speakers we have.
Including Council Felix.
Yeah, we are talking about the performance of a president concerning security and insecurity. So what we have in the Southeast now, do we used to have that before he came into power? What about the headers? Which we heard that they are the 4 deadliest terrorist groups. Do we have that before they came into power? Do we have it at that rate? They are just concentrating on the Northeast. What about other part of the country? I think the data is there. Everything is there for us to see if there have been improvement. There are more kidnappings now. There are more bandits, as in I haven't seen any improvement. Especially if you want to talk about the whole country and not just the northwest or northeast. We are talking about the whole country. I haven't seen any improvement in terms of security. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution and thanks for making that swift as well. Keep them calls coming in 0703 2277 338 and 0909 555 1039. Hello there, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you, fellow. Good morning, my line.
Good morning.
I thank the gentleman, starting from Mr. Kingsley, who started speaking about the airplane. Yes, to have something like that, Virgin Atlantic, better Virgin Nigeria, and today is no more. Nigeria Airways is not there. Buhari came and inherited a lot of things, and he has not improved on them. The security is there. The refiners are not working, and it's still living without the refiners not working after 8 years. Stadium not working. Look at the NIN card, which when Jonathan commissioned it in 2015, he said it will serve as an ATM and a bank card. Yes, this is the time he's now saying they can issue it. What type of government do we have in this country? Insincerity, unable to do things for the people, rather it's for themselves. Look at somebody have as a minister of the state or whatever, he said doesn't know anything, and he was been kept there. So absolutely, you are being ruled or led by somebody who doesn't know anything. That is what we say. You cannot say somebody doesn't know anything in education and place there. You place somebody doesn't know anything in education and place him there. For 8 years are they about? Oh, it's a shame. He has scored him 0. God has scored him unacceptably. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mazi, for your contribution. Keep them calls coming in. You can also go straight to social media. We're streaming on Facebook. Drop a comment there. Facebook.com/LFM103.9. We also are on Twitter at LFM_radio. That's LFM_radio. Instagram at LFM radio. You find the post pinned to the top of the page. There you can drop your comments there as well. We'll go there, check your comment, and of course mention them here on the program. We see you, Jude Ina. Thanks for that thumbs up you've put there on Facebook. Keep them coming. Alrighty, let's get back to the gentlemen. We've been focused a lot on insecurity and security, side by side. The first caller mentioned something in the southeastern part of the country, which is as we got the insecurity we can see there now. Can we blame the Buhari administration? We know, we say that the buck stops on the table of the president, but can we blame the Buhari administration for the agitations which has given rise to the insecurity we can see in that region? You'd also consider that with the fact that the governor of Anambra State, did say today in a letter that the president should release Nnamdi Kanu, because not releasing Nnamdi Kanu has been responsible for the sit-at-home situation, because people don't want to come out of fear and all of that. Let me come to you real quick, Prince Francis Chilaka. Before we get back to Barrister Tunji, he's been on pause for a while considering the judiciary, but let's come to you real quick and we'll wrap up on security.
Well, you see, the thing is, agitation will always come up, and that is why we're human beings. When this things come up, we must have a government that has a human face, and that human face is that you must be, as a government, be ready to apply the carrot and stick approach. The government, as far as I'm concerned, was too heady by going out of Nigeria to kidnap. That is the best language, to kidnap Nnamdi Kanu. And I agree, okay, you have gotten him and all of that. But the question is, when you have somebody who is agitating for something in your hands, and you find out that the thing is escalating, what do? You go back to a negotiating table. You go to discuss. And I would say, with all sense of responsibility, that if the late Adwa, he would have managed the issue of Nnamdi Kanu and IPB better than this administration has done.
All right, let's leave it there.
Has failed to understand the power of negotiation. They have failed to understand the power of roundtable discussion. You cannot hold somebody down. You cannot flog a child and ask a child not to cry. If you check out the appointments of this government, these are the things Nnamdi Kanu kept talking about. Nepotism. That is why your Minister of Education can open his mouth and tell Nigeria nothing about the sector until he was made a minister. I mean, what kind of government is this? This is why somebody like Festus Keyamo can actually come out after being a minister of state for how many years and tell you that it is not constitutional. It shows you that we have just had people in government that were selfish, self-centered, and only thinking about themselves and not about the Nigerian people.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Let's quickly or swiftly move to the judiciary. We know that the judiciary is a very critical sector in any nation. I mean, you have the three arms of government: the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. Although sometimes people say the judiciary is independent, has the judiciary really been independent under Buhari's administration? So with respect to appointment, removal, issues relating to general administration of judiciary, what are your views on this issue, Tunji?
Well, I think for me, the issue of judiciary is a very serious issue in the sense that I find it difficult to rate the president in terms of his involvement of the independence of judiciary, because you won't see, if there's any influence, you won't see it in the open. It will be an assumption. So it is very unfair for people to see and say it's not been independent. Look at what is on ground. The judiciary is not behaving as if they are independent. Because sometimes most of the things they do, they work in line with what the government is looking for. You can see how the tribunal was used to remove the former CJN just by way of first party, which was instituted by the government. Because when we say government, Attorney General of the Federation is part of the government. It's the government. In fact, it's the government. Regard. So as far as I'm concerned, the Buhari administration did not do much in terms of improving our judiciary. I'm knocking my head to even recall one or two things they have done to improve our judiciary in terms of what we are talking about. We have been complaining about facility, we have been complaining about appointment, we have been talking about finance, the judiciary, lack of finance. Yes, I'm not aware that all these have been taken care of. They are still the way they are. So as far as I'm concerned, not much has been done in terms of improving our judiciary. And in fact, in terms of complying with the rule of law, this government has been one of the best failure in that regard. Because there are so many judgments of the court that have been done against the government, that have been failed to obey. So many have been started against them. They are in Kanu. To the seller has come to court on several occasions. They've gotten judgment against them. They've not been obeyed up to date. So if a government does not obey rule of law, as far as I'm concerned, has not done anything good in terms of judiciary. And one of the entities of good governance, as elected by the UNDP, is the rule of law. Once you are not obeying law, once a government doesn't obey rule of law, that government cannot be said to perform very, very, very well. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm trying to wrap my head and see the good they have done in terms of yeah, I've not seen any for now. I'll still be thinking. Maybe when I remember, I'll let you know.
Right. Would you say that, just recently, the 16 bills, one of them sent to the president for assent in March, was the judiciary, the autonomy for the judiciary, and the president has assented to that bill. That bill, the import of that bill, is to grant...
Thank you for reminding me. I also remember they did attempt to do what what's it called? This or something. I can't remember the name. Whereby the state were compared to give the judiciary their money direct. So in that regard, they've done well in that area. I want to applaud that in that regard. He has done his effort to ensure financial independence of the judiciary. So thank you for giving me.
Alrighty. Yeah. Alrighty then. So we'll leave things there. We'll also we'll have time for one or two calls. So keep them coming. The big question, by the way, and it's not just about security and the judiciary. We've just touched on those. Before we wrap this session, we'll try and cover as much as possible. There is the political sides of things. There's the economy sides of things. In the last 8 years, do you think that Nigeria has been better under President Buhari? That's a big question. So you can join the conversation. 0703 2277 338 and 0909 555 1039. Those are the numbers to call. Do you think President Buhari has done well in his 2 terms as president? And when Jonathan left, President Jonathan left in 2015, there was a lot. I will come to that in a moment. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Kingsley.
Hi, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Council Felix.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Emmanuel.
All right, Emmanuel, welcome. Let's go.
Yeah, the thing is low. Security-wise, economically, even in the infrastructure that they can boast, the person is at what cost? You look at the debt when he came in, how much are we owing? Just look at every aspect. Look at education sector. Look at the healthcare sector. The man, we were worse now than when he came in. That is just the simple answer.
Thank you so much for. Thank you for your contribution. Keep them coming. You can also drop a comment via WhatsApp. Gentlemen, let's come to you as we take some more calls. Let's come to you, Prince Francis Chilaka. Let's talk about the economy, and then every other person gets to respond to this as well. Is the Nigerian economy better now than it was in 2015 when President Muhammadu Buhari took over?
Bassey, let's leave out semantics and go straight to the point. How much was a bag of rice in 2014, 2015 before the government came to power? How much was dollar, the naira? How much was fuel being sold for? So how much was flight ticket between Lagos and Abuja? These are indices that we should put in perspective. When you're talking about leaving the economy better, how much were we owing, or how much did we borrow as at that time compared to how much we have borrowed now? What is today the purchasing power of a Nigerian? What is the purchasing power? The minimum wage is 30,000 naira. What can 30,000 naira do for anybody in this country today? So as far as I'm concerned, in good conscience and being very sincere to the government and to Nigerians, this government that is going has come, has seen, and has rubbished the country. That is just how to define it.
All right, but Prince Chilaka, the argument on the other side would be that this government experienced 2 recessions, came out of those 2 recessions. This government experienced COVID-19, came out of it. This government had drop in oil revenue, and now there's an appreciable improvement. It is the general problem. That's what they will tell you. Don't you agree with the government side?
Listen, when we say general problem, you and I run a family, and we know that if there is a crisis, the family will adjust, and when things settle out, the family will blossom. At what point did we come out of recession? And when we came out of recession, what did we benefit as a Nigerian people? This is the same government that told Nigerians that they were feeding children while children were at home during the COVID period. This is the same government where we saw items meant for Nigerians under COVID that people kept and packed away, and some were even using it for their birthday parties. This government, as far as I'm concerned, has not opened its eye one day to fight corruption. If the government had really fought corruption the way President Buhari came in and the way he talked about corruption, a lot of things should have been taken care of. But the government came and was being very selective in its fight against corruption. The government came and allowed nepotism to take sway. And that is why you had people who have nothing doing in government to get in government. We must, as a people, come to that realization that anybody or any leader or anybody aspiring for a position that bribes you, that induces you to vote for him or her, that person does not have any agenda for the Nigerian people.
Alrighty, let's at this point we'll just take 1 minute each to drop our submission so that we can take as much as we can before we wrap the conversation on the discourse here on FM 103.9. This is the FM Morning Show, and we have three gentlemen talking to us about President Buhari's scorecard. And the fundamental question is if Nigeria is better now or is worse since President Buhari took over in 2015. Okay, Chief Umoru Momoh Darlinghtyn, let's come to you on the economy. And Prince Francis Chilaka just mentioned some other, area, which is corruption. You want to speak about that, the economic corruption? Are we better off as a people?
In terms of the economy, this government didn't do well at all. There's no excuses. The issue of COVID-19 was a global problem. The issue of recession was a global problem. The administration before Buhari also had a recession. But the truth must be said. The average life expectancy of Nigerians now has dropped. There's a lot of poverty. All of this has also helped to fan the embers of insecurity. There are no jobs nowhere. The artisans don't even have power supply. And then to kill it, to put a nail on that coffin was the Naira redesign policy, which was grossly wrong, which was grossly ill, which was grossly misadvised, which has grossly affected home. Many businesses have collapsed as we speak today. That Naira redesign policy was Emefiele wrongly advised the presidency, Mr. President, on that matter. And then up until today, Nigerians have not recovered from that Naira redesign issue. In terms of the economy, I think, like Babangida will say at a point in time, he's surprised when he wakes up every morning to discover that Nigeria had not collapsed economically under his administration. That was even a military administration. Every day I go to bed and wake up, I still wonder how these resilient Nigerians that we are wake up and still carry on as if nothing has gone wrong. If it were elsewhere, the people would have revolted. If it were elsewhere, this government would have been chased out of office. Economy, by talking about economy now, but otherwise, in terms of economy, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a lot on his hands. He has a lot on his hands to do. Of course, we remember the likes of El-Rufai, who told these people not to return the old Naira notes they had, that the country will still return to it, that if Bola Ahmed Tinubu wins, and that thing the country will revert to it, and which is what we eventually reverted to. But before then, Kingsley, for people like you, we know you're not feeling it. But for people like us, the injury was sustained. I don't know how many decades it will take to heal economically for us in this country. I scored them 1/100 in terms of handling the economy.
Would that be fair? All right. I mean, that's led to your discretion, and this conversation continues. Definitely, this post is up on social media. You can go drop your comments there, gentlemen. In just 30 seconds each, like Prince Francis Chilaka stated a few minutes ago, even though he eventually engaged semantics without necessarily engaging semantics, would you miss President Muhammadu Buhari? Tunji Abdulhamid, you go first, please. Would you miss President Muhammadu Buhari? He lives in 3 days.
What is it?
Would you miss President Muhammadu Buhari? When President Jonathan left, there were talks like, we miss Goodluck Jonathan, right? Would you miss President Buhari?
It depends on the angle you are looking at it from. Missing for...
What would you miss him for?
If you want me for that, if you talk about missing for in terms of a dramatic way of approaching issues, if you are talking about the way of being lackadaisical, if you are talking about being not concerned about the country, just sitting down and look at everything there going wrong, well, in that regard, maybe that will not be a positive miss. That will not be a miss. I'm trying to think what I will miss Baba Buhari as the president for.
Apparently you won't then. If you have to think critically about it. Prince Francis Chilaka, would you miss President Muhammadu Buhari or not?
Yes, I will miss President Buhari because at least for once I won't have the likes of Femi Adesina and Shehu Garuba disturbing my eyes and my social media handle with all funny press releases. Those are the things I would miss. And I would also miss the fact that we had the government or we had the president who, if he wasn't the president, would have been said to be the best president Nigeria never had. Thank you.
I see what you did there. Chief Momoh Darlinghtyn, would you miss the President Muhammadu Buhari when he leaves next Monday?
Apparently, yes. I would miss him in terms of handling security. I will miss him because at a point in time, about 17 local governments were under the governance and control of the terrorists in this country. All of that he did, he returned those administrations to the local government, elected executive chairmen and councillors of that area back to them.
All right.
He recovered them. He disseminated those of them in the northeast. I will miss him as one man who was able to wish to become the president of this country, even though against all odds he was able to achieve it. There's no Nigerian president that history will forget, positively or negatively. So I will certainly miss him.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Chief Momoh Darlinghtyn, a security consultant as well as a public affairs analyst, for being on the Discourse this morning on FM 103.9. Tunji Abdulhamid, barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, thank you so much. And Prince Francis Chilaka, public affairs analyst. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining this conversation. We've been examining President Buhari's 2 terms as president, and if Nigeria is better or not with him as president. Well, we'll now switch gears to the social buzz segment. Well, by the way, gentlemen, I'm tempted to want to keep you on the line for this segment. We're looking at something critical, and as elders, right? Yeah, we'll put it that way. Would like maybe your thought on this. This social buzz segment on the Left Morning Show is essentially about social trends, and on social buzz this morning, we're looking at this encounter between the Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, the second, and veteran Nollywood actors Peter Doche and Kanayo, which has generated mixed reactions online. A video of the 2 dignitaries, that's the veteran Nollywood actors and the Oni, at the 40th birthday celebration of one Elizabeth Jack Rich, has been widely shared online. The video shared by Kanayo on his verified Instagram handle captures Kanayo and Edoche entering the venue and approaching Dioni's table. Arriving the table, both of them extended their hands for a handshake with the Oni of Ife in the traditional Igbo backhand greeting. And that gesture sparked different opinions among Nigerians, with some perceiving that as a sign of disrespect towards the traditional ruler. A lot of Nigerians have a lot to say. They had so much to say. One Maxwell 23 said the blame is on the Oni of Ife for going to that kind of place and for also accepting a handshake from people. I'm not against the Nollywood stars, but they're supposed to bow before the stool of the king of Ife. If it was the former Oni who could try this and even give him a handshake. And some other person, this Maki Spice, said, for you to put mouth for elderly talk or matter is even uncultured. So keep thinking you're wise by telling your king what to do when you haven't even been a cabinet member. What do you think you know? All right, several opinions as regards this. Some say it's disrespectful to do that to the Oni. Other person say, well, that's the way the Igbos greet and the rest. Maybe I should begin with Prince Francis Chilaka, who is well, for want of better words, typical Igbo man. What's your thought on this? How do you perceive this?
When it comes to issue of tradition, I like people to be very careful, and I like people to be very, very sincere. If
they had gone to the Oni's palace to meet the Oni in his palace, I would expect them to do like the Romans. If you're in Rome, you behave like the Romans. But if it's in a social gathering that they have met the Oni, it will not be proper to expect them to accord him that they would have accorded him in his palace.
Does he stop being king when he's in a social gathering? Does he stop being king?
No, let me finish.
All right.
When you are in your palace, your authority, your stool is that authority. That is where your authority is. When you are in a social gathering, and a gathering that is more like for the Nollywood people, what do you expect? We just take a lot of things too hard in this country. It doesn't matter whether they bow down, whether they lie on the floor, but the point is that the Igbos naturally have a way of greeting.
What's that way?
And when Igbos meet in the social gathering, it is that if I go to my hometown now and I go to see the Eze, the way I would greet him in his palace will definitely be different from the way I'll greet him if he comes to a social function outside the palace.
All right.
And you need to understand that the Igbos are Republican in nature. The Igbos our Republican nature has also been a problem because the Igbos will tell you Igbo Eze means the Igbos have no king. It has been a very major problem in Igbo land, and that needs to be addressed. So, to a large extent, I wouldn't really put a blame on them, but I would also say that if the Oni of Ife himself is not offended, why are people drinking Panadol for him?
All right, thank you so much. We thought to get your thoughts on that. Let's come to Tunji Abdulhamid, another typical Yoruba man. Okay, let's get your thoughts on that.
One correction.
Yeah.
I'm a northerner.
Oh, you're from the North Central.
I am from Kwara Central. North Central.
Are you Yoruba or not?
I'm from Kwara. Kwara is from North Central, so you can decode it.
But you're not Yoruba, just to be clear.
I don't know what you mean by that. I'm in Nigeria.
All right. Okay, so what's your thoughts on this? Do you think that was disrespectful?
For me, not so. Because just like my brother said, it would be a different kettle of fish if it were to be in his palace. He's in a public place, and you don't expect people to now prostrate in public because, in fact, the program will even disrupted. How many people will be expected to prostrate for him? And being in a public gathering, the Oni of Ife being a young and social and new age Oba, always join them in the baby that is praying. They may even be our old friend. Notwithstanding, so they may be a kind of a greeting in that manner to just say let's be funny. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't expect them to go and prostrate while in public and say, "Kabis, we are greeting you." Bearing in mind that look, they are in public. I don't think what they have done.
For some persons, though, this is whether the king is young, or young at heart. It's a desecration of tradition.
If I was done by the military or by a commissioner or somebody, a big politician, would they complain?
All right. Thank you so much for your thought. Yeah, we just thought to get your thought on this. Chief Darlinghtyn, very quickly, what's your take on this? Understanding tradition yourself.
I'm a traditional chief, like you know. The situation, sometimes we just try to create hula baloo where there is none. When you meet an Oba, it is the prerogative of the Oba to decide how he will greet you. I have met with traditional rulers, like my friend Barrister Tunji just said. If the Oni of Ife meets with Buhari, will he not stretch his hand to greet him? If the Oni of Ife meets the governor of Osun State,
will he not stretch his hand? What happens, Kingsley, truly, is that it is the response of the king as at the time he was greeting somebody that matters. If he wouldn't shake you, he will hold on to his staff and not stretch his hand. But if he stretches his hand, it means he is comfortable with shaking you. I don't know if you understood it.
Yeah.
I have been in the midst of some of these kings who will stretch their hands to greet me.
All right.
If some of them meet you, like Tunji rightly said, number one, if the man was meeting dignitaries, and if it was bigger dignitaries, would anybody say they shook him or they greeted in another form? The man didn't complain, and if he stretches his hand to acknowledge that, or he stretches his hand first to shake you, that is it.
All right.
That is it.
All right. Thank you so much, Chief Umoru Momoh Darlinghtyn. Like he acknowledged, is a traditional chief. Okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being a part of the broadcast and for indeed indulging beyond time, at least to join the social boss segment on the show. Tunjab Lamid, legal practitioner, as well as Prince Francis Chilaka, public affairs analyst. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That's a show today, and indeed the entire week. Okay, so this person wants to say something real quick, very quickly, so we can go. Hello.
Kingsley, good morning once again, Mazi.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, real quick.
This person has saying, you look at this year, and his caliber and his speed. You don't expect him to portray. He's a man of dignity from his place.
All right.
You wouldn't allow him to prostrate. Rather, what I did as an the man was to stretch his hand. He comes to age-wise, we wouldn't know who is elder, but then he has done the best.
All right.
By even stretching his hand.
Okay.
As an Igbo man I am from Arusuku, I know the expression of the meeting my elders within the estate. Thank you. Let us take your time.
All right. God bless you. Yeah, there's a concept of cultural relativism and some other theories associated to culture, but that's a show today, and indeed the entire week. We appreciate you being there. We've got to go now. It's been the Law FM morning show. Until next week, Monday. Kingsley Bassey is my name,
And I am Uzoma Felix.
have a fun time, and bye for now.